and welcome to the Life Guidance Network with Krista Kane. Today I want to speak to you about getting out of your own way. That's kind of a bold statement, right? Have you ever felt like you're just kind of bored with your life, like you need inspiration or you need motivation or you need something to help you literally just put one foot in front of the other? I think we've all been there before. I know for sure I have. And I always say that I do what I do because I've done what I've done. I have been to the bottom of the trenches. I've been on cloud 9 and every single space in between. And I notice with a lot of my coaching clients that they stay stuck in the past. They say, well, this happened to me last week. This happened to me last month. This happened to me last year. This happened to me when I was 5. I get it, you know? Life happens. That's the only thing I can say. And we can either take the things that have happened to us and we can hold on to them and we can use them to keep us stuck, to keep us low and down and in the muck and to become a victim, are you ready for this? Of ourselves. Or we can use them for fuel and use them to help propel us into the next best space of our life. Now, I want you to pay careful attention to that, to the next best space. If you're in a depressive state, and I don't mean like clinically depressed, I have knowledge and education and experience for a lot of things, but I am not a psychologist. I'm a counselor and a coach. So I can't tell you about if you are clinically depressed. But if you are in a depressive state, if you're moody, low, down, if you ever have those moments where you have the blahs and they just tend to last for days or weeks or however long. And you dwell on it and you're like, well, you know, I feel lousy, so I don't want to do anything because I feel lousy. And it becomes a perpetuating cycle. And because you feel lousy, you don't do anything about it. And because you don't do anything about it, you feel lousy. And you get to a point where you can't tell where one begins and the other ends. And you're like a hamster on a wheel. You're going and going and going, but you're not getting any traction. You're not getting anywhere. At this point, you don't need to be inspired. You need to be ignited. Let's talk about what it means to be ignited. Being ignited is where you have a powerful thirst inside of you that cannot be quenched. And every single person on the planet has had that at some point in their lives. And as life knocks us down and knocks us down and knocks us down, it's so easy to lose sight of that. But it's still in you. You just have to dredge it up. You have to wake up one day and say, no more. No more. This is where I draw the line and where I take control of my life. The person who left you, the person who dumped you, the friends who don't want to be with you, the boss who fired you, forget it. They're not your world. They're not your world. And I see this so often. I see this with a lot of, it's interesting, I see it with baby boomers and I see it with millennials. And I don't see a whole lot of that in between. What is that, Generation X? I guess I would be Generation X. I don't see as much in Generation X. But what if you had this secret ingredient or this magic potion to pull yourself out of the trenches and out of the muck and to create a life that you love? What if? Just imagine that for a minute. What would it look like? Let's think about that. What would that, and I apologize, the cars, I like to be outside, so I'm outside on my front patio. I have a garden patio out front, and a car's going by. But what would that look like for you? What would that be? Well, if your energy level is here, very, very low, and where you want to be is here, very, very high, you're not just going to wake up one day and shoot for the moon and there you are. You have to incrementally close the gap between where you are and where you wish to be. And the only way that that is ever going to happen with any sustainability, there's the key. The only way that that will happen to create something sustainable is with consistent, keyword, consistent forward motion. Consistent. I don't care if you do one thing a day. I don't care if you pick up the phone and make one phone call towards your goal. Take your dream out of dream realm. Pull them down to goal level. Because the difference between a dream and a goal is action. And I promise you, you are never in a million years going to create anything positive coming from your negative space. So, when you're down in the muck, when you're low, when your relationship is ended and you're fired and you hate where you live and you hate the job you had, and they fired you because of course you hated your job, right? If you don't have friends, if you're not happy in your body, if you're in that space where everything just sucks. We've all been there. All you have to do is reach for the next best feeling. I don't care what it is. The next thing. Anything. Picking fruit from the joy tree. That's all you're doing. And when you can pick some fruit from that joy tree every day on a consistent basis, you're going to instantly elevate your mood, elevate your energy, elevate your potential, which is the beginning of closing the gap between where you are and where it is you wish to be. That's the first step. And then you have to make the commitment to do it every single day. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter what your goal is. Maybe it's a relationship goal. Maybe it's a goal of where you want to live. Maybe it's a goal of how you want to feel in your body or in your headspace. Maybe it's a goal of what you want to achieve financially or or a business that you'd like to create or an organization, whatever it is. The only thing stopping you is you. I want you to really hear that. The only thing stopping you is you. Your life, my life, everyone's life is the sum total of the choices that we make. That's all it is. It's nothing more and it's nothing less. And sometimes life hurts. Sometimes life kicks us and we are down. What's your option? You know, people who have read my books, they understand, wow, Christy, you've been through a lot. So what? Yes, I've been through a lot. Definitely. I've been through, I think a lot of us, most of us have been through a lot. And the severity of that it's very subjective, right? My a lot could be a lot more than your a lot, or it could be a lot less than your a lot. But I don't allow that to define me. What happens to you does not define you. How you deal with what happens to you does define you. So do you stay pissed off at the world and refuse to get out of your own way and wake up every single day or every single afternoon because there's nothing to wake up for? And stare at the same four walls and continue to do the same thing again and again? And we all know insanity, yeah, we've all heard that 1,000 times. Or do we take the reins of our own lives? Do we jump into the driver's seat of our lives, put it in gear, and lay tread marks on the pavement? This is what I'm talking about. This is exactly what I'm talking about. I can tell you, I went from a situation where I was, prior to my training as a coach, one of my son had brain surgery. And I was home with him for about 1.5 years during the recovery of the brain surgery. And I was in one state and what is now my ex-husband was in another. And I had to completely rely on him financially because I'm home with our son, with our small child. helping him through the healing process. I'm not leaving him for 5 minutes. And I was literally in a position where the last meal, I call it the Last Supper, that we had was when 5 of us split 1 can of tuna and a can of pork and beans. That's it. That was it. And for weeks, like probably 2 weeks, I had no resources coming in whatsoever. My husband, we were married at the time, had completely cut me off because he was angry with me. And for 2 weeks, I would eat very, very little food, and I'd be like, oh, I'm just so full. You know, I lost weight. I was thin. I'm not going to take food out of the mouths of my children. I'd eat a few bites, and I'd claim to be full. And we literally had no food. That was the last of anything in our refrigerator. And I did not take my kids to school for, I believe it was 8 or 9 days, because I didn't have enough money to put gas in my car to get them to and from school. It was that bad. I had no prospects because I can't leave my son. There's nothing in the world that I could do to undo everything that had happened. So what's my choice? You either use it as fuel to propel you to something better, or you what? Lay down and die? No, not this girl. Not this girl. So after that Last Supper of 1 can of tuna and 1 very small can of pork and beans, I went into my room and I hit my knees. And for the first time, I felt my positivity just shrink, just plummet. And I cried and I said, there should be no hungry children. That was what I said, there should be no hungry children. In that moment, like that, I had this thought of, okay, wow, wait a minute. When this is over, so inside I knew it would be, when this is over, I am going to do something to make sure that I have the ability to help another family with children that might be hungry. Just that thought led to the next step, which was to grab pencil and paper and start writing out a business plan for it. Well, I started with an outline, soon became a business plan. And just the act of doing that instantly pulled me out of my own muck, took me out of my own way, took me completely out of it. And it was not a year later that I had put myself through coaching school and was a coach, and I had clients in, I believe I had clients in 7 or 8 states at that time. Not even a year later. It was when you recognize that at this moment life has me down, but I am bigger than my problems. I am bigger than my problems. Certainly I was bigger than tuna fish and pork and beans. It wasn't even baked beans, it was pork and beans. It was like bottom of the barrel beans. What other choice do you have? You know? So I used that, but when I got myself into the mindset of I'm going to find a way to use this horrible experience for something good, it was like a light went on and doors opened for me everywhere. It was insane. It was insane. And it was not, it probably wasn't 45 to 60 days after that I was on the air with 2 different radio shows every week that I paid for. I paid for these. So I went from not even being able to feed my children within 2 months. I'm paying $350, $400 a month, or a week, I'm sorry, a week for radio shows. It was just incredible how this had happened. Now I was training as a coach at that time, but it just, everything shifted when my thought space shifted. And it's not just about your thought space. You have to align your actions with your thoughts. When you have congruency from your head to your heart to your feet. And when I say your feet, I mean you're getting off your keister and doing something about it. When you are in congruency from head to toe, that's a game changer. So get out of your own way. There's going to be lots more on this subject, I'm sure, but if you are in a space today that you don't want to stay in, that you don't want to live in, where you're not happy with your life, only you and only you can change it. And I am no better than anyone watching this video. I don't have anything more special than any one of you. If I can do it, you can do it. Get out of your way, stop your excuses, and just do it. Reach for the next best thought. Reach for the next best feeling. Reach for the next best action. Until next time, I'm Krista Kame, signing off. Please make sure you subscribe, like, click below, share it, comment. Love to hear back from you. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.